I used to be terrible at talking to people. Not in an obvious way. I had friends, I could hold basic conversations. But something was off. People didn't really listen when I spoke. I'd say something and get blank stares. My crush once looked straight through me when I said hi, like I wasn't even there. And every conversation left me feeling like I just failed a test I didn't know I was taking. So I did what everyone does. I Googled how to be better at talking to people. The advice? Smile more. Ask questions. Make eye contact. Be confident. Be humble. Listen better. Great. Super helpful. I tried all of it at once and somehow I got worse. I became this fake version of myself. Trying to remember 12 different tips while talking made me sound like a robot reading a script. I was so busy thinking about the rules that I forgot to actually be a human being. But then I discovered something that changed everything. One habit. Stupidly simple. And it made every other social skill click into place without me even trying. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that habit is, why it works when everything else fails, and how to use it starting today. By the end, you'll have a clear system for actually improving instead of just collecting tips that sound good but do nothing. Stay until the end, because the final step is the one that separates people who improve from people who stay stuck forever. Here's what I realized one day. I was playing chess with my dad, and I was terrible, like losing in 6 moves terrible. But here's the weird part. I'd watched probably 10 hours of chess videos. I knew the terms. I understood the ideas. So why was I still trash? Because knowing something doesn't mean you can do it. Watching a video about chess doesn't make you good at chess. It just makes you someone who watched a video. And that's when it clicked. People aren't computers. You can't download a program called Social Skills and suddenly be smooth. Information doesn't equal ability. I could watch 100 videos about talking to people. Wouldn't matter because none of them told me how to actually practice. They just gave me more things to remember, more rules to follow, more ways to feel like I was doing it wrong. Most social advice is like that. It tells you what to do but not how to build the skill. It's like telling someone, just be confident when they're nervous. Cool, thanks. Super useful. I needed something different. Something I could actually use in real conversations without thinking about it. That's when I stumbled on what I now call the pause habit. Sounds boring, right? The pause habit is this. Before you respond in a conversation, pause for 1 full second and think. That's it. I know. Sounds too simple to work. But here's the thing. Most people start planning their response before the other person finishes talking. You're not listening. You're just waiting for your turn. I used to do this constantly. Someone would start a sentence and halfway through I'd already be thinking, okay, what do I say back? Which meant I missed the actual point they were making. This creates 3 massive problems. First, you miss what they actually said. You're guessing. You're making assumptions based on half a sentence. Second, you sound like a mess. Because you're rushing, you trip over words. You say things you don't mean. You stumble. Third, people can tell. They feel unheard. They feel like you're not really there. So they check out. The conversation dies. The pause habit fixes all 3 at once. When someone finishes speaking, you stop. You take 1 full breath. Then you respond. This did something incredible for me. I started speaking clearly. Like night and day difference. Because I had 1 second to organize my thought, I stopped mumbling and tripping over every other word. I became a better listener. People felt heard. They'd say things like, "You really get me," even though I barely said anything back. And I stopped running out of things to say. Because I was actually hearing what people told me instead of panicking in my own head. But here's the part nobody tells you. The pause isn't just about listening better. It's about creating space. Mental space where your brain isn't scrambling. And what you do with that space? That's where the real magic happens. I'll show you in a second. Quick thing. If you're finding this helpful, like and subscribe. Here's the problem I ran into. I'd forget to do it. I'd have a conversation. It would go badly. And then 30 minutes later, I'd be like, oh yeah, I was supposed to pause. You need to remember to do it before it becomes automatic. 3 things saved me. First, I set a daily reminder on my phone. Every morning. Pause before responding. That's it. Sounds dumb. It worked. Second, I started doing box breathing before conversations. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Out for 4. Hold for 4. This made me way more present. Less in my head. More aware of the moment. Third, I picked 1 phrase to repeat. Let them finish. Just those 3 words. Anytime I felt the urge to jump in or interrupt or start planning my response, I'd think, let them finish. After 2 weeks, it became natural. I didn't have to remind myself anymore. But here's where it gets interesting. Most people learn the habit, they use it, they get better, but then they plateau, they stop improving. They're better than before, but not as good as they could be. And I was headed down that same path until I figured out the final piece. The piece that turned this from helpful into life-changing. The pause habit creates mental space. 1 second of silence where your brain isn't freaking out. Most people waste that space. They just think, okay, what do I say? But you can use it for something way more powerful. Every time you pause, focus on improving one specific thing. Not 10 things, one. This is the secret. Right now, I'm working on being more authentic. So when I pause, I ask myself, what do I actually think about this? Not what sounds smart, not what they want to hear. What do I actually think? Last month, I focused on talking louder. I used to talk like a mouse. So every pause, I'd remind myself, speak from your chest. Before that, it was asking better questions. Every pause, what am I curious about? This is the difference between people who improve and people who stay stuck forever. Most people try to fix everything at once. Be funnier, be louder, be more interesting, be more confident, all at the same time. They fail. Because it's impossible. You can't focus on 12 things at once. Your brain shorts out. But one thing, you can do that. You pick one thing. You focus on it during every pause. And after a few weeks, it becomes part of you. Automatic. Then you move to the next thing. This is how you actually build social skills. Not by reading tips, not by watching videos and nodding along, by using the pause habit as a training ground for one skill at a time. The pause gives you space. What you do with that space determines everything. So here's what you do starting today. Pick one thing you want to improve. Speaking louder, being funnier, showing more interest, making better eye contact. Anything. Then every time you're in a conversation, pause for 1 second before responding. And in that 1 second, focus on your thing. That's it. Do this for 2 weeks, you'll notice a difference. I promise. And here's what nobody tells you about social skills. They're not about being perfect. They're not about saying the right thing every time or never messing up. They're about being present. The pause habit forces you to show up, to actually be there instead of spiraling in your own head about what you should say or how you sound, or if they like you. That's what people feel. That's what they respond to. Presence, not perfection. So try it. Pause before you respond. Pick one thing to work on and watch what happens. You might surprise yourself. Thanks for watching, and until next time.